Chapter 81. Second Demonica Moonberg. Inside his apartment, Noah collapsed onto his couch. He was exhausted beyond usual. He had been pushing himself beyond his limits for the past hours. Every muscle ached with fatigue that came from genuine physical exertion rather than mere mental strain. I've been technically working for the whole day. Monster hunting, customer service. When did my life become this complicated? Sigh. Even with a system, I still gotta work hard. The peaceful surroundings of his modest living space felt surreal after hours spent in magical realms fighting beetles and selling bread to demons. Noah's strength made standing it easier than it should have been, but fatigue ran deeper than physical exhaustion. I need to shower first, then sleep. Tomorrow I need to head to work. I also need to work out in the dojo once again. I'm really working hard. The thought carried wry amusement mixed with genuine concern. His old life had involved sitting at a computer for 12 hours straight, surviving on energy drinks and ramen cups. Some changes come with unexpected complications. Well, not that I'm complaining, he thought, reading his status that made all the hard work worth it. Steam filled the small bathroom as hot water washed away the grime of his adventure. Beetle ichor, demon realm dust, and the particular exhaustion that came from constantly operating outside his comfort zone all disappeared down the drain. After his shower, he had realized that he was still wearing the clothes that he had bought from the demon. I left my clothes inside the shop. I will collect it tomorrow. Noah dried off and put on some comfortable clothes, his reflection showing someone who looked the same but moved differently. His agility and strength were noticeable. 20 strength, 20 agility. Still getting used to what that actually means. It seems like I need to head to the park to check out my strength and agility. His bed welcomed him with a comforting hug. Noah woke up the next day with a huge smile spreading across his face as familiar text blazed across his retina. Your daily income has been rewarded. Demonica Moonberg card. Your reward is in your inventory. You can use the card and the reward will be summoned. Another Demonica Moonberg. This is perfect. His eyes lit up with the enthusiasm of someone who just discovered their favorite restaurant was offering free dessert. Getting another cultivation plant meant accelerated development, enhanced mana sensitivity, and most importantly, faster progression toward the elusive level 5 mana control threshold. 2 plants feeding on iced tea should double the enhancement effects, maybe even push me over the edge today. Excitement propelled him out of bed with energy that made his usual morning routine feel sluggish by comparison. The shower passed in a blur, breakfast became an afterthought, and within minutes, he was stepping through the portal into his shop. Time to see what 2 Demonica Moonbergs can accomplish together. Inside the shop, Moon pulsed with gentle energy from its corner position, still glowing with the effects of yesterday's iced tea feeding. The sight filled Noah's heart with satisfaction. 1 plant had already proven its worth, and now he was about to double his cultivation advantages. Noah opened his inventory, a wide smile on his face. The interface materialized before him, displaying various accumulated items, including the new Demonica Moonberg card. Here we go. He selected the card with his hand. Use card. Yes, no. Noah did not hesitate, pressing yes immediately. Not a second had passed after his click before the Demonica Moonberg appeared on his wooden table. Beautiful. Useful things are always beautiful. This specimen was identical to Moon in every respect. The same pink leaves, the same delicate branches that swayed without any breeze, and the same effect of producing the magical air. Twin cultivation plants. This is going to boost my training by a large margin. He smiled brightly. I will gift Valeria and the others some of them. It seems like I'm going to keep the Demonica in my daily income for a while. The new plant, Noah, immediately called it Star, to distinguish it from Moon, which pulsed with the same gentle rhythm as its predecessor. Together, they created a harmonious energy pattern that filled the shop with mana thick enough to taste. The increase in mana density is somewhat noticeable, and I haven't even fed Star any iced tea yet. Noah retrieved a bottle from his shelf. If 1 plant feeding had accelerated his development significantly, 2 plants should show some good improvement. The bottle's cork released with its satisfying pop, immediately filling the shop with the intoxicating aroma of liquid mana with a hint of peach. Star's leaves began vibrating before the iced tea even reached its soil. It knows what's coming. The iced tea disappeared into the dark soil of Star, and transformation began immediately. Star's entire body erupted into brilliant luminescence, its leaves swaying through the spectrums of colors. Noah did not stop, feeding Moon a glass of iced tea. Together, Moon and Star created a light show that made Noah stare in amazement. This is incredible. The enhancement is nearly double what I felt yesterday. Noah's mana sensitivity spiked dramatically, making the energy flows around him visible rather than merely sensible. Level 5 mana control isn't just possible now. It's inevitable. Before he could settle into meditation position, the familiar chime of his door announced an unwelcome interruption. Noah's eyes immediately identified the visitor. Of course, she shows up right when I'm about to make a breakthrough. Lola swept through the entrance with grace, her ruby eyes sparkling with mischief and her signature smile already deployed at maximum intensity. "Hi, Noah. I heard that you missed me, so I decided to come visit you." Here we go with the teasing routine. Noah's reaction was notably subdued compared to their previous encounters. Days of exposure to her charm offensive had built considerable immunity to her supernatural charisma. "You were gone," he shot back with indifference. "I didn't notice." Chapter 82. Being taught by Lola. Two can play at this game. Lola's expression changed dramatically. Such a drama queen. Her confident smile crumbled, turning into a wounded expression. Her hand flew to her chest as if his words had inflicted actual physical damage. "How cruel!" she gasped, her voice taking on a note of genuine hurt. "I thought we had developed a special connection after that hot night we had together." "You mean that damn fireball when we were attacked?" How does she even think of that? Luckily, there isn't anybody in the store. Otherwise, my reputation would have been tarnished. Noah remained unmoved by her display of emotions, though he couldn't entirely suppress his amusement at her commitment to the performance. "We have a customer-merchant relationship," he replied diplomatically. "Very professional." But Lola's attention suddenly moved as her gaze swept across his shop's interior. Her eyes landed on the twin cultivation plants, and her entire demeanor changed from playful seduction to genuine interest. "Two Demonica Moonbergs?" The words escaped as barely a whisper. "How did you acquire a second specimen? Even Vex doesn't have two of them. They are so hard to find and cultivate." Mysterious shopkeeper time. Keep her guessing. "Trade secrets," Noah replied with vagueness, stroking Star's glowing leaves slowly. Lola approached the plants. Her fingers hovered inches from their luminescent foliage, not quite daring to make contact. "These aren't just rare," she murmured. "Wait, how are they giving out so much mana?" Her ruby eyes widened as she sensed the energy flowing around both plants. The density of magic was clearly visible to someone with her level of expertise. "Nobody knows that feeding them pure mana drinks amplifies their effects exponentially." "Enhanced care," Noah replied smoothly. "Quality nutrition produces quality results." Lola's gaze snapped back to his face. "You fed them your iced tea, didn't you?" "That would be expensive," Noah deflected. "And effective." Her smile returned. "Most people don't understand that Demonica Moonbergs respond to mana-rich liquids. They assume the plants are decorative." She knows more than she's letting on. Of course she does. "What else do you know about them?" Noah asked, genuinely curious about information that might help optimize his cultivation setup. Lola's tail swished with the satisfaction of someone who'd found leverage in an unexpected conversation. "Enough to recognize that you're sitting on a fortune in cultivation enhancement. 2 properly fed Demonica Moonbergs could accelerate magical development by a decent amount. Although that's only in the beginning stages, it will probably help you until the middle stages of the novice rank. After that, the effects die down. Hypothetically, someone with your foundation could break through to the novice rank within hours instead of days." Hypothetically, of course. Speaking of which, Noah gestured toward his inventory. Are you here to buy something, or just to admire my interior decorating? Lola's laugh carried genuine amusement. Both, actually. I need supplies for an upcoming expedition. Something dangerous enough to require the best enhancement available. The usual? Noah asked. Double order, she replied, already reaching for her coin pouch. Noah shook his head. Sorry. Only one product per person. I can't give you double. Rules exist for a reason. Start making exceptions and everyone expects special treatment. He couldn't break the shop's rule even if it was Lola. Unless it was worth it. Come on. She smiled seductively, walking towards him. Lola began circling him like a predator evaluating her prey. Her movements carrying the hypnotic quality that made rational thought significantly more challenging. Her breath crawled against his skin as she moved closer, each exhale carrying warmth that seemed to bypass his nervous system entirely. Focus. Despite the temptation that made his pulse quicken, Noah held firm to his established pricing structure. Seeing that her usual tactics weren't producing the desired capitulation, Lola sighed with disappointment. I will help you break through to novice rank, she offered, her tone shifting from seductive to businesslike. But I want a double order. And don't worry, nobody has to know. Breakthrough assistance. That's actually valuable. Level 5 mana control has been frustratingly difficult. Noah considered the proposition for several moments, weighing immediate policy violation against long-term developmental advantages. The twin Demonica Moonbergs will accelerate his progress significantly, but Lola's guidance could provide the final push he needed. All right, he decided finally. But first, you need to help me. Then I can process your order. Lola's smile carried triumph mixed with genuine anticipation. Fair enough. Let's see what we're working with. She gestured toward the space around Moon and Star, where the enhanced mana density created optimal cultivation conditions. Sit there. The plants will amplify whatever breakthrough occurs. Noah settled into his meditation position, feeling the familiar flow of energy that surrounded both cultivation plants. Show me your current technique again. Noah nodded before he began his usual breathing exercises, feeling for the mana that flowed through channels he could sense but not yet manipulate. The energy responded to his attention, swirling closer to consciousness without quite crossing the threshold into actual control. Still stuck at the same barrier. Level 4 feels like looking at treasure through glass. Stop, Lola interrupted after several minutes of observation. You're still trying to grasp mana like a physical object. That's your fundamental mistake. She moved behind him, her hands hovering near his shoulders without quite making contact. Feel my mana flow. Don't try to copy it. Just observe how it moves. Power radiated from her body, washing over Noah in waves beyond anything he'd experienced before. Her mana didn't fight against the mana in the air. It flowed with them, becoming part of the ambient energy rather than trying to dominate it. Integration instead of domination, just like she taught me before. Now, Lola's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Imagine your consciousness expanding to include the space around you. Don't reach for mana. Become the space where mana exists. Noah adjusted his approach, changing from active grasping toward passive expansion. Instead of trying to capture flowing energy, he allowed his awareness to grow until it encompassed the area between both plants. Different. This feels completely different. Chapter 83. Level 5 Mana Control. The change in the way mana gathered around him was obvious. Mana that had previously remained tantalizingly beyond reach suddenly felt accessible, not as something separate but as an extension of his own existence. Good, Lola murmured, her approval carrying genuine satisfaction. Now maintain that expansion while guiding small amounts of energy. Don't force it. Invite it to move with your will. Noah attempted to follow her instruction, but the moment he tried to direct the mana, it slipped away like water through his fingers. Damn it, I lost it already. His expanded awareness contracted back to normal perception, leaving him frustrated and slightly dizzy from the sudden change. Again, Lola said patiently. You're still thinking like you need to control it. Stop trying to be the master. Become the medium. Become the medium. What does that even mean? Noah closed his eyes and attempted the expansion technique once more. This time, he managed to hold the state for nearly 30 seconds before his natural instincts kicked in once again, and he tried to grasp the flowing energy. The mana scattered instantly. Better, much better, Lola observed. You held it longer that time, but you're still fighting your own conditioning. Months or perhaps years of thinking about magic as something external won't disappear that quickly, but you are showing very fast progress. This is harder than I expected. She made it look effortless. For the next 20 minutes, Noah cycled through the same steps. Expand his consciousness, feel the mana respond, and lose control when he attempted to direct it. Each attempt lasted slightly longer than the previous one, but progress felt awfully slow. I'm not getting anywhere, he muttered, wiping sweat from his forehead. You're progressing faster than most people, Lola replied calmly. Most people take days to achieve what you're doing in minutes. The plants are also accelerating your development significantly. Don't give up. Once you get that good connection, it doesn't go away. I'm being impatient. Try this, she continued, moving to stand next to him. Instead of thinking about controlling mana, imagine you're conducting an orchestra. You don't force the musicians to play. You guide them to create harmony. Orchestra conductor. That's actually a useful metaphor. Noah adjusted his mental approach once again. Instead of reaching for the mana with grasping intentions, he imagined himself as a conductor's baton, existing to facilitate rather than dominate. The change in perspective after the metaphone showed immediate results. That's the feeling I was missing. Excellent, Lola said softly. Now maintain that state while attempting small movements. Don't think about moving the mana. Think about suggesting directions it might want to flow. Noah held his conductor's mindset while gently encouraging a small stream of energy to move in a clockwise circle around his body. The mana responded with surprising willingness, creating a visible shimmer in the air. It's working, actually working. But his excitement broke his concentration, and the effect collapsed immediately. Emotional stability, Lola noted with amusement. Another challenge for new practitioners. Success creates excitement. Excitement disrupts focus. Disrupted focus kills the technique. Damn it, that was stupid. I need to stay calm during breakthrough moments. The pattern repeated itself over the next 30 minutes. Noah would achieve a stable connection, attempt something slightly more complex, then lose control due to some sort of variable. Each cycle taught him more about the delicate balance required. Your problem isn't technique anymore, Lola observed after his latest attempt. It's mental discipline. You understand the mechanics, but your emotions keep interfering. She's right. Close your eyes, she instructed. This time, don't attempt any mana manipulation at all. Just expand your awareness and sit with the sensation. Get comfortable with the state before trying to do anything with it. Noah followed her guidance, allowing his consciousness to expand without any agenda beyond simple observation. The mana flowed around him, but he resisted the urge to interact with it. Just observe. Don't interfere. Minutes passed in peaceful meditation. The awareness became familiar rather than exciting, settling into his consciousness like a comfortable piece of clothing. His breathing steadied, his mind quieted, and the mana around him stabilized into harmony. Now, Lola whispered, without opening your eyes or changing anything else, guide a small amount of energy to flow from your left hand to your right. This time, Noah's approach carried no urgency or excitement. He simply suggested to the ambient mana that it might find flowing between his hands to be an interesting direction to explore. The energy responded with gentle cooperation, creating a visible stream that connected his palms. Actually stable this time. Hold that for 60 seconds, Lola instructed. The minute passed without incident. Noah maintained the mana flow while keeping his emotions carefully neutral, treating the achievement as simply another step in a longer process. Now make it flow faster. The energy responded to his suggestion, accelerating its movement between his hands. Now slower. Of course, these commands were mainly in his head and to himself. Mana wasn't actually listening to his verbal commands. Again, immediate compliance. Perfect, Lola said with genuine satisfaction. You're ready for the final step. You got this. Just break the dam. Noah's awareness suddenly encompassed flows he couldn't see before. Mana revealed itself with startling clarity, and his control over magical forces transformed from theoretical into reality. Your mana control skill has leveled up to level 5. The notification blazed across his retina as power flooded through channels that had been blocked since his arrival in this world. His intelligence attribute spiked from 7 to 20, bringing its enhancement with it. I've reached level 5. Finally. But the changes weren't finished. Mana flows that had been visible but untouchable suddenly became responsive streams he could guide with conscious intent. Mana pathways revealed themselves as highways rather than obstacles, pathways for power instead of barriers to break through. The channels are open. Actually open. Congratulations, Lola said, her smile carrying genuine pride. Now you are a novice mage. Chapter 84. Discovering my element. But don't get too excited. Your journey as a mage has just officially started. Now you must discover which element you resonate with. Element affinity. I forgot about that. Noah turned to the succubus with genuine curiosity, replacing his earlier breakthrough excitement. How can I know what my affinity is? Instead of responding immediately, Lola smiled with the satisfaction of someone who knew they held valuable leverage. That wasn't part of our agreement. I only agreed to help you break through. As for your element, you'll need to figure that out yourself. She paused mid-sentence. Or maybe you can sell me triple the usual. Then I can help you. Triple order. She wants 3 loaves and 3 glasses of iced tea. The automakers will replenish everything within hours anyway. I suppose I can do that. Noah nodded without hesitation. Okay, no problem. 3 loaves and 3 glasses of iced tea. Some knowledge is worth bending policies for. But first, teach me. How can I learn which elements I resonate with? Elements. Lola's eyebrow arched with amusement. What makes you think it's more than one? Oh. Noah's assumption crumbled as reality reasserted itself. Right? One element. I'm not a magical prodigy like Kip, who probably has multiple affinities. Most people only have one basic element they resonate with, Lola explained, settling into teaching mode. Fire, earth, wind, wood, and water. These are the most common affinities you'll encounter. The 5 basic elements, that means there is elements higher in ranking, perhaps lightning or ice. To discover which one you resonate with, there are 3 ways. They all differ in effectiveness and convenience. 3 methods. That's quite the range of options. The first way would be through an academy or a rich family. We will focus on the academy example. The academy has orbs containing high concentrations of each element. This has the advantage of being the fastest method since you're having direct contact with pure elemental energy. Noah's mind immediately jumped to Princess Alara's repeated invitations. That sounds efficient. It's indeed efficient. However, Lola continued, there's a significant downside to this method. If your element isn't abundant and very few people possess it, you might not find an orb available for testing. This method mostly helps those with classical talents. Classical talents. So people with rare elements might not find their talent orbs. What's the second way? Noah asked. The second method involves traveling to areas with elemental abundance. This approach is problematic because you don't know your affinity beforehand, so you'd need to head to various locations to test every element until you find the one that resonates. Lola gestured toward the shop's window, indicating the world beyond. For example, heading to a river or sea for water element testing, forests for wood affinity, volcanic regions for fire, mountain caves for earth, high plateaus for wind. That sounds time-consuming. Noah nodded with understanding. Lots of travel involved. Exactly. Plus, some elemental regions are dangerous for novice mages. Volcanic areas don't discriminate between experienced fire mages and beginners who might accidentally immolate themselves. Third option. The third method is the hardest. Lola's expression grew serious. You'll need to try imagining every element you can think of and attempt to resonate with it through pure visualization. No physical contact, no environmental assistance. Just imagination and willpower. Pure mental exercise. That sounds difficult. Has anyone actually succeeded with that method? A few, Lola admitted. Usually, people with exceptional mental discipline or those who already have strong intuitive connections to their element. Most give up after a few attempts. Which method do you recommend? Lola's smile returned, carrying mischief that suggested her answer wouldn't be straightforward. For someone in your unique situation, I'd suggest starting with the third method. The hardest one? Why? Because you have advantages most people lack. Furthermore, the areas with abundance of basic elements are outside the safe zone, so you might hurt yourself. She gestured toward Moon and Star, whose gentle pulsing continued to enhance the shop's mana density. Enhanced mana sensitivity from your cultivation plants, plus whatever other secrets you're hiding. She suspects there's more to my situation than normal development. Well, she's not wrong. If the visualization method fails, Lola continued, you can always visit the academy or travel to elemental regions. But attempting pure mental resonance first costs nothing except time. That's a logical progression. Start with free methods, escalate to expensive or dangerous ones if necessary. How exactly does the visualization method work? Close your eyes, Lola instructed. Imagine fire in perfect detail. Not just visual, temperature, smell, the way it moves, the energy it contains. Then reach out with your mana and see if anything responds. Noah closed his eyes, picturing flames dancing in his mind. Campfires, candle flames, raging infernos. He extended his newly accessible mana toward the mental images. Nothing. Feel anything? No response. Try water next. Noah shifted his visualization to flowing streams, ocean waves, and falling rain. Again, he reached out with magical senses seeking connection. Still nothing. Earth, mountains, caves, fertile soil, solid stone. His mana probed for resonance with geological imagery. No reaction. Wind. Gentle breezes, hurricane forces, air currents carrying birds. Noah's magical awareness searched for affinity with atmospheric elements. Empty. Wood. Ancient forests, growing saplings, living trees swaying in summer winds. His mana sought connection with botanical life forces. Empty once again. Noah closed his eyes, concentrating intensely on wooden imagery. Living trees, growing branches, leaves rustling with life energy. His mana reached toward the visualization with careful attention. Despite his second attempt at connecting with wood, it didn't yield anything. Lola nodded her head with understanding rather than disappointment. Okay, so that means you don't have a particularly strong affinity to any of those elements. You just need to keep practicing. No immediate magical specialization. Of course, it wouldn't be that simple. I've already taught you what you need to do. For now, all you need is practice. Noah nodded with a sigh that carried more frustration than he'd intended to reveal. He'd been imagining himself creating small fireballs or wind spheres, but reality wasn't so simple. Chapter 85. A Passerby. Apparently, breakthrough doesn't equal instant spellcasting ability. Practice it is, he replied, accepting that magical development followed the same route as everything else in his life. Gradual improvement through persistent effort. Noah headed to his shelf and retrieved the requested items. 3 loaves of healing bread, 3 bottles of iced tea. That will be 90 golden coins total. Lola nodded and took out the payment without hesitation, her coin pouch producing the required amount. I'll see you later today, or maybe tomorrow. She smiled with genuine warmth. See you. The door closed behind her with its familiar chime, leaving Noah alone with his burning curiosity about possibilities that had been theoretical until moments ago. Finally, time to test what I've been wanting to try forever now. Noah raised his left hand, studying the storage ring that had remained frustratingly inert since Princess Alara had given it to him. The simple band looked identical to before, but his mana sensitivity could now detect the magic contained within its modest appearance. Level 5 mana control, 20 intelligence. Storage ring access should be possible now. He focused his will toward the ring, channeling mana through pathways that had been inaccessible until his recent breakthrough. The device responded immediately, flaring with activation energy. Connection established. Finally, the ring's dimensional space opened to his consciousness like a door unlocking after years of being sealed. Noah could sense the interior, a modest storage area roughly the size of a large closet, currently empty. It's a 2-meter cube. It's not as big as I had imagined, but it does the job. He selected a loaf of bread from his shelf, concentrating on transferring it into the ring's dimensional space. The bread vanished from his hand, disappearing into storage. Noah retrieved the bread with equal simplicity, watching it appear in his palm as if summoned from thin air. The process felt natural rather than forced, mana responding to his intentions without any complications. No more carrying supplies in jacket pockets. Princess Alara's gift had finally become functional rather than decorative. Noah experimented with storing and retrieving various items, each successful transfer building his confidence with dimensional magic. The ring's capacity seemed generous enough for significant supply storage while remaining completely discreet. Dingling. The familiar chime announced his first customer of the afternoon, filling Noah with the satisfaction of someone whose business had developed reliable customers. It seems like they're finally starting to flow in. Usually, when the first demon arrived, the rest would follow like a parade of enthusiasts. Noah's customer base had developed a herd mentality that worked entirely in his favor. The newcomer purchased the best-selling combo, bread and iced tea. Well, it wasn't like there was any other combo. But regardless, it was still best-selling, and that's what mattered. A few hours passed in steady activity. Regular customers flowed through his doors with satisfying bell chimes constantly ringing, each transaction adding to his growing wealth while depleting his carefully managed inventory. But there was one notable absence. Viscount Vex hadn't made his usual dramatic entrance, complete with flowering commentary and aristocratic flourishes. Where's the plant-obsessed nobleman? As if summoned by Noah's thoughts, the shop door burst open with energy. Vex swept inside with his usual cape-billowing entrance, Precious tucked behind his ear like the world's most dangerous hair accessory. Speak of the devil, or demon in this case. Sigh, Vex announced to the universe, his voice carrying unhidden frustration. I hate meetings. I had to delay feeding my precious. The carnivorous flower responded by extending tiny vine fingers to caress Vex's cheek with obvious affection, its needle-sharp teeth clicking in what might have been sympathy. His plant is so affectionate it's consoling him, too. Sadly, Star and Moon can't speak. Otherwise, it might have been fun to hang out with them, but scary at the same time. Vex's eyes landed on Star and Moon, and his entire demeanor changed from frustration to genuine shock. His jaw dropped so far it practically hit the floor. 2. He rushed over to the cultivation plants with the urgency of someone who discovered buried treasure, then whirled to face Noah with wide eyes. Where did you get the second one from? Noah smiled mysteriously, channeling his best enigmatic shopkeeper energy. I received it as a gift from a passerby. He saw the demonic Munberg you gave me in the shop and decided to gift me another. Technically true. The system counts as a passerby, right? Really? Do you know who it was? Noah shook his head with innocence. He didn't say, just bought something and left. What did he look like? Oh no. Here come the investigative questions. Noah cried without tears internally. He's asking so many questions. Thank God I said it was a stranger, otherwise he would want to meet them too. Not sure, Noah replied with deliberately vague helplessness. Happened pretty quickly. Please stop asking questions I can't answer without sounding insane. After several more attempts to extract non-existent information, Vex finally surrendered his interrogation efforts. Can I have the usual order? He asked. then immediately launched into what sounded like a prepared business proposal. Also, when are you planning to expand your sales? Or is that not happening anytime soon? Perhaps you don't have enough workers? If you don't, I can send you some of my servants to help. Or if it's a resources issue, just let me know and I'll sort it out. His voice climbed with increasing desperation. I need more of your products. Precious only eats them now. His carnivorous flower has become a picky eater. Of course it has. Noah laughed at the absurdity of a demon viscount offering to solve his staffing problems because his pet plant had developed expensive tastes. It's none of those problems. It's just a constraint on the production procedure. Workers and resources don't matter. How do I explain that a system controls my inventory without sounding completely unhinged? Vex nodded, though his expression suggested someone trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Production procedure, he repeated slowly, as if testing the words for hidden meaning. Very technical. He's not convinced, but at least he's stopped asking questions I can't answer. Chapter 86. Legendary Potential. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $175,300.64. Shop points 2,700. Attributes: Strength 20, Vitality 4, Intelligence 20, Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship, Level 5. Mana Control, Level 5. Cooking, Level 2. Programming, Level 2. Finance, Level 1. Surviving on ramen, Level 3. Gaming, Level 1. $175,000. Not bad. This should be enough as a down payment for a good house. Noah's eyes tracked across his status with satisfaction. His attributes had transformed from pathetic to very powerful, while his skills reflected genuine competency rather than desperate fumbling. Intelligence finally caught up to strength and agility. 20 across the board for combat-relevant stats. Although my vitality is still quite low, I need to figure out a way to increase it. The breakthrough to level 5 mana control had completed his transformation from ordinary human to something approaching legitimate magical capability. The only problem he was facing was finding his affinity. He could currently access his storage ring, manipulate mana, and he had a foundation for whatever elemental affinity he'd eventually discover. Auto Iced Tea. Level 2. Production rate: 1 iced tea every hour. Max stock: 24. Progress: 84/100. Auto Baker. Level 2. Production rate: 2 loaves every hour. Max stock: 24. Progress: 60/100. Auto Iced Tea is almost ready for Level 3. 16 more sales and production will increase significantly. The progression felt inevitable now rather than distant. His demon customers had proven enthusiastic about premium pricing, making the upgrade threshold more a matter of time than effort. My shop points are also at 2,700, which means I'm more than halfway towards the 5,000 goal needed for upgrading the shop to Level 2 and unlocking new items with new effects, perhaps more powerful ones. Everything was climbing toward the next tier of capability. His production, expanded product lines, and whatever benefits came with officially upgrading his shop. Time to close up shop. Noah began his closing routine. The cultivated plants pulsed with gentle energy, already preparing for another day of enhancement. As he prepared to step through the portal back to Earth, a thought surfaced that made him pause. Where's Kellis? She said she'd return today. The adventurer who joined his beetle hunting expedition had seemed genuinely interested in his products. Her enthusiasm for both healing bread and iced tea suggested that she would become a regular customer. Maybe her expedition ran longer than expected. Or she was busy. Who knows? Noah shrugged, not dwelling on the absence. Customer patterns varied, and expecting perfect predictability from adventurers who risked their lives fighting monsters was probably unrealistic. The portal welcomed him back to his apartment, where mundane concerns like shower schedules and meal planning awaited his attention. Tomorrow would bring new customers, continued progression toward shop upgrades, and hopefully some clarity about his elemental affinity. After taking a shower, Noah got into his GTR and drove off to the dojo. Unlike last time, he came prepared with proper planning and forethought. I brought some clothes with me so I can take a shower over there too. He glanced at the passenger seat where his gym bag lay, containing fresh clothes and everything needed for a complete training session without rushing home afterwards. The dojo's familiar wooden exterior came into view as Noah pulled into the parking lot. Students were already visible through the windows, going through their stances with varying degrees of skill and dedication. Time to see what level 5 swordsmanship feels like in practice. Students paired off for sparring matches while others worked through solo forms. Master Tanaka approached with his usual slow stride, his dark eyes immediately assessing Noah's posture and bearing. "You look different," he observed, his tone carrying curiosity rather than a casual greeting. "Your body mass seems more centered. You also look more confident." "I've been practicing." "Good. Your skill was remarkable, but consistency matters more than single displays of skill." The master gestured toward an open section of the training floor. "You're beyond group instruction now. Individual training will serve you better." "Beyond group instruction. That's actually flattering." "Start with warm-ups," Master Tanaka instructed. 50 strikes each, horizontal, vertical, diagonal. Follow that with footwork drills. "I want to see if your foundation has developed." Noah nodded and moved to the designated area, drawing his practice sword with fluid motion that had become second nature. He settled into his stance, feeling his skill level coupled with his strength and agility align his body into optimal positioning without conscious effort. Every muscle knew its role, every joint understood its function. The first horizontal strike cut through the air. Swish! The movement made several nearby students pause their own practice. The movement was clean, controlled, carrying power that was immediately visible to anyone with martial experience. That felt effortless. "Incredible," whispered one of the students, his own sword forgotten as he watched Noah's technique. The vertical strikes followed with perfection. Each cut traced identical paths through space, the blade moving with consistency. "How long has he been training?" another student asked, his voice carrying genuine awe. Master Tanaka's eyebrows climbed toward his hairline as he observed the demonstration. Although Noah's skill before was amazing and better than most people he'd ever seen, it wasn't as good as it was now. It was like he was a different person. Overnight. This is impossible. No one improves this rapidly. Was he hiding his skill before? But why would he? The diagonal strikes showcased the full extent of Noah's development. Movements that typically required years of practice to execute with such fluidity flowed with natural grace, each transition seamless. "He's not even breathing hard," someone noted with amazement. "Master," called one of the senior students. "Is this normal progression for practitioners? Can we become like this one day?" Master Tanaka shook his head slowly, his expression cycling through disbelief and growing respect. "Nobody in this room has the potential to reach Noah's current stage of mastery. He has perfected the foundation. There isn't a single flaw in his foundation. This is something that very few can achieve in our current era." Chapter 87, A Legend in the Making. Noah moved into footwork drills, his high agility and swordsmanship skill making normal, foundational stances feel like simple art. Each step landed precisely, each pivot carried perfect balance, each advance or retreat demonstrated his understanding of the stance. The entire dojo had stopped their individual training to watch. Conversations died down as the students realized they were witnessing something beyond normal. "It's like watching a master demonstrate," breathed a young woman near the weapons rack. Master Tanaka approached as Noah completed his drills, his expression carrying respect typically reserved for fellow masters rather than enthusiastic beginners. "Your foundation," he said quietly. "It has become something extraordinary. I'm not sure what training you've been doing, but the results speak for themselves." "Dedicated practice," Noah replied, keeping his explanation deliberately simple. The master nodded, though his eyes suggested someone trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Basic instruction would be wasting your potential. Today I will spar with you. Let's learn from each other. Noah raised an eyebrow, concern creeping into him. While he didn't know the old man's exact capabilities, he was genuinely afraid of accidentally killing him with his strength. 20 points in strength and agility. That's pretty high territory. What if I seriously hurt him? Master, are you sure? I don't want to. Injure an old man? Tanaka's laugh carried genuine amusement rather than offense. Young man, you're not the only one with hidden depths. The master moved toward the weapons rack with grace that seemed to belie his age. His posture changed subtly, and Noah suddenly felt like he was watching a different person entirely. Something just changed. The way he carries himself. It's like he is no longer an old man, but a predator. Tanaka selected a practice sword. The weapon seemed to come alive in his hands, becoming an extension of his body rather than a separate tool. 40 years of training with the way of the sword, the master said quietly. It doesn't come from knowledge alone. Master Tanaka's gentle instructor demeanor melted away, replaced by an aura that radiated power. His stance made Noah's eyes widen slightly. This isn't just some dojo instructor. Ready position, Tanaka commanded, his voice carrying authority that made every student in the building fall silent. Noah drew his practice sword, settling into the stance that had become second nature to him by now. But facing the master felt completely different from fighting beetles or training alone. This was facing someone whose very presence suggested mastery beyond anything he'd encountered. If he had the system, Tanaka would be at least level 7 in swordsmanship. Maybe higher. His stance, I can't find a flaw in it. They began with cautious probing strikes, each testing the other's capabilities without committing to full offensive engagement. Noah's speed allowed him to match Tanaka's initial attacks, but the master's technique was poetry in motion. He's making me look clumsy by comparison. Your foundation is exceptional, Tanaka observed between exchanges. But you're thinking too much. Let instinct guide your responses. Their blades met with sharp cracks that echoed through the dojo. Noah found himself pushed beyond his comfort zone immediately, forced to rely on enhanced reflexes rather than conscious technique. He's fast. Actually fast. How is someone his age moving like this? Better. The master approved as Noah began flowing more naturally. Now show me what you've really learned. The pace accelerated dramatically. Tanaka's attacks came in complex combinations that challenged every aspect of Noah's skill, each strike flowing seamlessly into the next. Swish. Clang. Their blades met in rapid succession, Noah's agility barely keeping him competitive. This is what real mastery looks like. Oh my God, whispered one student from the sidelines. They're moving so fast I can barely follow. Impressive strength, Tanaka commented after a particularly powerful exchange left both fighters breathing harder. Very few people can match my physical power these days. Noah's surprise nearly cost him as Tanaka pressed his momentary distraction into an aggressive assault. The master's blade work became a flowing dance of death, each movement making Noah fight to defend against it. Whoosh! Crack! He's not holding back anymore. Did you see that? Gasped a senior student. Master Tanaka's moving like he did in the old tournament videos. Focus, Tanaka said as Noah barely parried a strike that would have taken his head off in real combat. Strength without technique is just flailing. Clang. Swish. Every time Noah relied purely on his attributes to counter the old master's superior technique, Tanaka punished the mistake. But when Noah combined his capabilities with proper form, he began matching the master's attacks. Integration. I can't just focus on raw power, but I should apply my power with skill. There. Tanaka's approval was immediate as Noah executed a perfect counterattack sequence. Strength and technique working in harmony. Swish. Thwack. Did the new guy just match Master Tanaka's combo? Someone breathed in disbelief. I've been training here for 3 years and I've never seen anyone spar with him like this. Another student murmured. Their sparring intensified as both fighters found their rhythm. Noah's capabilities allowed him to keep pace with decades of refined skill, while Tanaka's experience provided lessons that helped Noah get better. He's actually making me better in real time. Clang, clang, swish. Your power. It reminds me of my younger days, before age weakened what strength couldn't compensate for. Tanaka said between rapid exchanges. How is he able to talk whilst we are fighting like this? He is just playing around with me. A complex combination nearly broke through Noah's defense, the master's blade stopping inches from his throat. Whoosh! The master's blades froze in perfect position, making Noah's eyes dilate and his breathing erratic. That's actually terrifying. He wasn't even trying like that. The students watching from the sidelines couldn't help but start clapping at the sparring session they had just witnessed. Everything went by so quickly, so flawlessly, that some couldn't believe their eyes. Well done, Master Tanaka smiled, lowering his wooden sword down. Chapter 88. Down Payment. Noah returned his blade to a neutral position, sweat beading on his forehead from the sparring session. The master had pushed him harder than any training session he could remember, yet every moment had felt like valuable education rather than simple combat. Your adaptation speed is remarkable, Tanaka continued, his breathing barely elevated despite the intensity of their exchange. Most students take months to integrate new concepts. You absorbed them mid-combat. The watching students gradually resumed their own practice, though Noah caught several stealing glances at him. Word would definitely spread about this session. Master, called one of the senior students. I've never seen anyone match your combat tempo before. Tanaka nodded, a smile on his face. You could tell that he was satisfied as his expectations had been exceeded. Nor have I seen someone with such natural adaptation capability. Young Noah here possesses something quite special. Tomorrow we'll focus on advanced techniques, combinations that assume exceptional physical capability rather than baseline human limitations. Noah nodded gratefully. I appreciate the individual instruction. Don't thank me yet. Advanced training means advanced expectations. I'll push you harder than you've been pushed before. Tanaka smiled. I'm ready for whatever you can teach me. Good. The master nodded, placing his practice sword back on the rack. Your foundation is solid. Your fitness is exceptional. But your strategic understanding needs refinement. Strategic understanding. That sounds like exactly what I need for monster hunting. As Noah gathered his things and prepared to head to the shower, he couldn't shake the feeling that his martial development had just accelerated beyond anything he'd imagined possible. Training with someone who could challenge his capabilities and push his swordsmanship toward higher levels on Earth was something he didn't expect. After taking a shower and changing his clothes, Noah got into his car as he drove off from the dojo. His muscles felt pleasantly fatigued from the intense sparring session. Training with Master Tanaka is going to accelerate my combat abilities. It was a good decision to come to his dojo. I have $175,000 in assets. This should be enough as a down payment for a good house in the city. The realization still felt surreal. From dodging debt collectors to house hunting in a matter of days. Time to upgrade my living situation. I still haven't opened or installed my new setup either, due to the lack of space. Noah's destination was a real estate office he'd researched online. It was a mid-range agency with good reviews and listings that covered everything from modest to luxury homes. The office building appeared ahead, its glass facade reflecting the evening sun. Noah parked the GTR between two luxury car brands. He straightened his shirt, one of the quality pieces he'd purchased during his shopping expedition with Ethan, and approached the building's entrance. The office interior was very calm. Agents sat at desks reviewing contracts while potential buyers examined property listings displayed on wall-mounted screens. Spotting Noah entering, a man in his 30s approached with a smile full of enthusiasm. Good evening. I'm Noah Davidson, senior agent here. Noah Davidson. Definitely a coincidence worth mentioning. Noah Carter, he replied, accepting the offered handshake. Looking to buy a house. What a nice coincidence. We share the same name. Noah Davidson laughed before continuing. Well, Would you mind coming over to my desk? Let's find you something perfect. Davidson gestured toward a comfortable seating area where they could discuss details without interruption. What's your budget range? Davidson asked, pulling out a tablet loaded with property listings. I have $170,000 in cash, Noah replied directly. Important note, I don't want to pay interest on anything. Straight to the point. Davidson's eyebrows rose with obvious surprise. Cash buyers were uncommon, especially ones who specified avoiding interest entirely. $170,000 in cash, he repeated slowly, clearly recalculating the available options. Well, there isn't much you could buy outright for that amount in this market. However, Davidson continued, his tone brightening, I might have exactly what you need. Have you heard of rent-to-own arrangements? Noah shook his head, genuinely curious about alternative purchasing methods. Rent-to-own works like this, Davidson explained, settling into his sales presentation. You rent the property with an option to buy later. Part of your monthly rent goes toward the eventual purchase price. No interest charges, just structured payments over time. The beauty is that you're building equity while living there, Davidson continued. And you're lucky. I have one property where the owner specifically requires this arrangement. Why would an owner prefer that? Religious reasons. He doesn't believe in charging interest, considering it morally wrong. Very principled man, but it limits his buyer pool significantly. Noah found himself genuinely interested in the arrangement. Immediate housing upgrade without interest complications, plus the flexibility to complete the purchase when convenient. I'd like to see the house, he said. Davidson's smile widened with the satisfaction of someone who just matched a difficult client with an unusual property. Great. I can show it to you right now if you're available. It's only about 15 minutes from here. That's good. Let's get going. Stepping out of the office, Agent Davidson headed toward a modest sedan parked in the street. That's a nice GTR over there, he commented, gesturing toward Noah's car with obvious appreciation. Always wanted to drive one of those. Noah smiled but didn't respond, letting Davidson assume it belonged to someone else. They climbed into Davidson's company vehicle, its interior carrying the scent of air freshener mixed with coffee. The house we're going to see is in Riverside Heights, Davidson explained as they pulled into traffic. It's a quiet neighborhood, good schools nearby, very family-oriented area. The 15-minute drive passed through increasingly upscale neighborhoods. Well-maintained lawns, tree-lined streets, and the kind of area where people took pride in their property values. Here we are, Davidson announced, pulling into a driveway that curved toward a house that made Noah's apartment look like a storage closet. This is significantly larger than I expected. Chapter 89. Contract signed. The house stood 2 stories tall with clean modern lines that balanced sophistication with approachability. Large windows reflected the evening light while the attached garage could easily accommodate 2 vehicles. Garage space for the GTR and maybe another car later on, perhaps for my dad or visitors. A covered porch stretched across the front entrance, supported by pillars that added architectural beauty without feeling pretentious. The yard was spacious without being overwhelming, offering privacy without isolation. The owner built this 5 years ago, Davidson said, leading Noah toward the front door. He had to relocate for work before he could properly enjoy it. The interior opened into a spacious living area with vaulted ceilings and hardwood floors. Kitchen visible through an archway, staircase leading to the 2nd floor, everything flowing together with thoughtful design. It looks pretty good. The owner really has good taste. 3 bedrooms upstairs, Davidson continued on his tour. Master suite with attached bathroom. 2 additional rooms perfect for offices or guest spaces. Office space for a gaming setup. Guest rooms for family visits. This could work. What's the purchase plan arrangement? Noah asked, already imagining his furniture arranged in the generous living space. Davidson pulled out his tablet, scrolling through financial details. For a rent-to-own structure on this property, we're looking at $2,800 monthly. 20% of each payment goes toward eventual ownership equity. $2,800 monthly. That's actually cheap. The owner's asking $485,000 total purchase price. Davidson continued. With the rent-to-own structure, you'd need a $15,000 initial payment to secure the agreement. You can also exercise the purchase option for the remaining balance whenever you'd like. Noah's mental calculator worked through the numbers. $15,000 upfront, then monthly payments that built equity. With his income stream, the financial commitment felt reasonable rather than overwhelming. I would be able to have enough money for purchase within a week or two at max. So it's a good deal for me. Is the house ready to be moved into? Noah asked. Davidson nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. We can start getting it ready for you today, and tomorrow you can sign the contract with the owner. Great. Let's do that. Davidson's smile widened as he made notes on his tablet. Excellent choice. I'll contact the owner immediately and arrange the final details. Noah took one last look around the spacious living area, already mentally arranging his furniture and planning improvements. The GTR would look perfect in that garage, and his father would finally have a proper guest room during visits. Your daily income has been rewarded. DeMonica Munberg card. Your reward is in your inventory. You can use the card and the reward will be summoned. The next day arrived with the sun's rays landing on Noah's face. Today was an important day. Noah had arranged to meet the agent and property owner at 9 a.m. sharp, which meant delaying his shop opening for the first time since establishing his business in the world of ESTA. It's better to sort out my housing situation as soon as possible, just in case my dad is discharged early. I can't let him live alone with his current health condition. Davidson waited outside the house with a middle-aged man whose confident bearing was backed by his successful real estate investments. The owner carried himself with the relaxed, humble demeanor of someone who'd already moved on to his next venture. Mr. Carter, meet Mr. Fahad, the owner and designer of this beautiful house. Davidson called out as Noah approached. Mr. Fahad extended his hand with a genuine smile on his face rather than mere politeness. He is quite friendly, I must say. Noah had a good first impression of the man, and he hoped it remained that way. Pleasure to meet you. Davidson tells me you're serious about this property. Serious enough to pay in cash for the entire thing in a week or two. It's exactly what I've been looking for. It's simply great. Mr. Fahad? Noah replied, accepting the handshake with appreciation for the owner's straightforward approach. The paperwork process unfolded with surprising smoothness. Documents that Noah had expected to be complex legal nightmares turned out to be surprisingly readable. Davidson guided them through signature requirements while explaining each section's purpose. Property transfer agreements, rent-to-own structure details, insurance requirements, utility transfer forms, each document bringing Noah closer to his first owned home. Initial payment of $15,000 plus 3 months deposit brings us to $23,400 total, Davidson announced, a smile on his face. The commission is going to be nice on this one, he thought with a smile on his face. The property had been nearly impossible to sell. All his colleagues had given up on it, and so had he. That is, until Noah showed up. The property was amazing through and through. The location was great, its history was good, it was newly built, and the design was fantastic. But one problem made it dormant: the condition of non-interest. Everyone wanted a mortgage. After all, nobody wanted a rent-to-own. Those with money to buy houses were mostly old, rich people, and they didn't like to get involved in new things. They stuck to the basics. So once you mention rent-to-own, they were out. Old people liked stability, and new things contradicted that. Well, that was their opinion anyway. Noah pulled out his checkbook without hesitation. He had gotten one from the bank on his last visit. The amount that would have blown his mind weeks ago now felt like a reasonable expense. Mr. Fahad watched the payment process with obvious approval. The final signatures completed the transition. Noah's name now appeared on legal documents that granted him residential rights to a property worth nearly $500,000. Here are your keys. The house has been good to me. I hope it serves you equally well, Mr. Fahad said, producing a small keychain. The keys felt surreal in his hands. They didn't feel like mere keys but symbols of stability and progress toward goals that had seemed impossible during his debt collection dodging days. "Thank you, Mr. Fahad. It was a pleasure doing business with you." Mr. Fahad smiled warmly. "Likewise, Mr. Noah. Take care of yourself." Davidson gathered the completed paperwork while both men shook hands one final time. The transaction was complete, the property officially under Noah's control. As Noah walked toward his GTR, keys to his new house jingling softly, he felt happy and satisfied. Time to start moving in. Time to build something good. Chapter 90, Buying House. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $152,064. Shop points 2,700. Attributes: strength 20, vitality 4, intelligence 20, agility 20. Skills: swordsmanship level 5, mana control level 5, cooking level 2, programming level 2, finance level 1, surviving on ramen level 3, gaming level 1. On his way back to his apartment, Noah had already contacted a moving company to handle the transition. The large vehicle was waiting outside when he arrived, its crew ready to relocate the remnants of his old life. From this cramped apartment to an actual house, some changes happen faster than expected. "Be careful with those PC parts," Noah instructed as the movers began loading boxes. The crew nodded. Noah pulled out his phone and dialed the setup technician's number. "Hello. This is Marcus from Techno World. You called about installation." "Yes, I need to schedule the gaming setup installation for tomorrow afternoon." "New address." "Perfect. What time works best for you?" Footsteps echoed up the stairwell as Noah provided his new address details. Mrs. Henderson's familiar silhouette appeared on the landing, her expression changing from routine inspection to confusion. 2 p.m. should work perfectly," Noah continued into his phone. Mrs. Henderson's mouth opened as she surveyed the moving operation with growing bewilderment. "Boxes, furniture, and professional movers. Excellent. We'll have everything operational by evening," Marcus confirmed. "Looking forward to it." Noah ended the call and turned toward his landlord, who stood frozen in the doorway like someone witnessing an unexpected natural disaster. "Noah? What's going on? What is all this fuss?" Her voice was strained, and she was clearly dumbstruck from the major changes without any advance notice. Mrs. Henderson had been conducting her weekly property inspection when this moving operation ambushed her routine. "Moving out," Noah replied casually. "Moving out." Her eyebrows climbed toward her hairline. "But your lease doesn't expire for another 2 months. You can't just—" "I'm buying a house." The words landed between them like a small explosion. Mrs. Henderson's expression cycled through disbelief, confusion, and something approaching panic. "Buying a house? Noah, you couldn't afford your rent a month ago. You were behind on payments, remember? I had to threaten eviction. Things changed." Mrs. Henderson's gaze darted between the expensive moving crew and Noah's relaxed expression. "Changed how? You don't have the kind of job that affords house purchases. You're a broke programmer who works from home because they can't find a job. I was a struggling programmer. Now I'm something else. I've won a letter recently, and I've opened a business. Everything has been good lately." "Lottery? Business?" Her voice cracked slightly. "What business?" "You've been unemployed for months." "Started my own company." Revenue streams developed faster than expected. Mrs. Henderson's face flushed. Her perpetually behind on rent tenant had somehow acquired enough wealth to purchase property without warning. "This is very sudden, Noah. Very sudden." "What about the lease agreement?" "There are penalties for early termination." "Who said anything about early termination?" Noah smiled. "I'm giving you a month's notice right now. I'll pay next month's rent while not living here. Then we're done. By the book. No penalties. No violations. Just a tenant exercising his legal rights." Mrs. Henderson's mouth opened and closed without sound. She'd been expecting to extract penalty fees from her suddenly wealthy tenant, only to discover he'd outmaneuvered her completely. But you can't just, she stammered. Actually, I can. Check the lease agreement. 1 month's notice, which I'm providing right now. The movers continued their work around the conversation, loading Noah's possessions without paying the landlord any attention while she processed the reality of losing her cash cow. Mrs. Henderson stood speechless as her former problem tenant walked away from the apartment that had once represented the limit of his financial possibilities. Other revenge was simply success achieved loudly enough for everyone to hear. Today had definitely delivered the latter. In his new house, Noah stood surrounded by boxes and furniture that represented the physical manifestation of his transformed life. He'd already chosen his gaming room, a second-floor space with excellent natural light and enough room for multiple monitor setups. The plan included his PC installation, maybe a console, a large TV for relaxation, and whatever other entertainment technology caught his interest. Finally have space for everything I've wanted. The house came furnished with modern pieces that spoke to the previous owner's excellent taste. Clean lines, neutral colors, everything arranged with the kind of aesthetic sense that made interior design magazines possible. Noah wandered into the kitchen, opening the refrigerator to find exactly what he'd expected. Empty shelves and the faint hum of the fan waiting to preserve food that didn't exist yet. Grumble. His stomach grumbled at the thought of food. I need to go shopping for some groceries, but that can wait. First, I'll fill my stomach with some bread and iced tea. I need to open the shop too. Noah activated the portal. The familiar transition brought him into his shop, where Moon and Star pulsed with gentle energy from their corner positions. He had received another Demonica Moonberg, and it was joining the duo as the third twin. Noah used the card, and the Moonberg appeared on the desk. Instead of 2, now 3 laid on his desk. I will call you Star 2. He flipped the sign to open and settled behind his counter, already anticipating the steady flow of demon customers who'd made his new lifestyle possible. But before dealing with supernatural commerce, his immediate hunger demanded attention. Noah retrieved a loaf of healing bread and a bottle of iced tea from his shelves, before biting into the golden crust. The bread's warmth spread through his body immediately, providing nourishment that went beyond simple calories. Healing properties made every bite feel like a small celebration of his body's optimal function. This stuff really is magical no matter how many times I try it. The iced tea followed with its familiar rush of mana enhancement, increasing his magical reserves and sensitivity. Chapter 91. Bad news. Not that he needed the boost now, but the taste alone justified the expense. Peach-flavored iced tea is like liquid magic. Still the best product the system has given me by far. I can't wait for the next products in Level 2. The day had passed in bliss. His shelves stood nearly empty. Only 3 glasses of iced tea remained, reserved for more important purposes than profit. Moon and Star need their daily doses. Noah smiled as he recalled Vex's expression when he spotted the third Demonica Moonberg in his shop. The Viscount's shock had been so complete that his flower companion Precious had actually stopped clicking her teeth in sympathy. Another gift from a passerby, Noah told him. The poor man looked like he was going to have an aneurysm. The excuse had been paper-thin, but Vex couldn't call him out for his lies. Noah approached his Demonica plants. Moon and the 2 stars pulsed gently, making his shop feel like an enchanted garden. Time for their feeding. The first bottle's cork released. Pop! The aroma of the iced tea began filling the shop with its intoxicating peach scent. Moon's leaves began vibrating before the liquid even reached her soil, anticipation radiating through its branches. The iced tea disappeared into rich earth, and transformation began instantly. Moon erupted into brilliant luminescence, her silvery leaves cycling through spectrums of color that had no names in human language. Beautiful. Never gets old watching that. Star received its dose next, matching Moon's enthusiastic response with equal fervor. Its branches swayed in rhythms that seemed to harmonize with her companion's energy patterns. 3 Demonica Moonbergs working in perfect synchronization, their combined output creating mana density that people dreamed of having. The air itself feels alive. Noah settled into his meditation position between the glowing plants, feeling their enhanced emanations wash over him like warm sunlight. If elemental affinity was going to reveal itself anywhere, this would be the optimal environment. 1 hour. Give it everything I've got. He closed his eyes and began the visualization exercises Lola had taught him. Fire first. Dancing flames, crackling wood, heat that could melt steel. His mana reached toward the mental imagery with careful attention. Nothing. Water next. Flowing rivers, crashing waves, gentle rain feeding thirsty earth. The same careful extension of magical senses, seeking resonance with aquatic forces. Empty response. Earth. Solid stone, fertile soil, mountains that had stood for millennia. His enhanced mana sensitivity probed for connection with geological power. Still nothing. Minutes stretched into an hour of constant failure. Every element remained stubbornly unresponsive to his magical overtures, as if his mana existed in a different world entirely. Maybe I'm thinking too narrow. What if I'm super talented? What if my affinity is something like lightning? Ice? Light? Darkness? The expanded search yielded identical results. Whatever his elemental affinity might be, it wasn't revealing itself through meditation alone. An hour wasted. Time for Plan B. Noah opened his eyes, sighing with frustration that made the glowing plants seem to pulse sympathetically. The enhanced mana environment had accelerated his magical development, but discovering his elemental nature remained frustratingly difficult. Lola said traveling to elemental regions was an option. Maybe direct exposure will trigger something meditation can't. He stood and gathered his equipment, checking that the zealous quickblade hung properly at his hip. Back to the Crimson Mountains. If I can't figure out my element, at least I can improve my combat skills. Time to see if beetle combat provides better results than meditation. Sin City streets buzzed with afternoon activity as Noah made his way toward the city gates. Demons went about their daily business while merchants hawked everything from weapons to questionable street food. The Crimson Mountains appeared ahead, their rust-colored peaks standing strong. Here he might have combat opportunities that might unlock whatever magical potential his meditation couldn't access. Beetles don't care what element I resonate with. They just care about being defeated quickly and efficiently. Other adventurers dotted the landscape in various stages of monster hunting preparation. Some sat in strategy circles while others engaged creatures in active combat. Noah drew the zealous quickblade as the beetle's shapes came into view. The hunt began with a purpose beyond simple monster slaying. After hunting for a while, Noah improved at a rapid rate. His body was finally syncing with his new attributes. What had started as awkward adjustments to his powerful capabilities became some good combat prowess. Getting used to 20 strength and agility finally feels somewhat natural instead of overwhelming. The training against the beetles was, of course, not the only factor in play, but the sparring with Master Tanaka and his training. He was able to face 5 beetles simultaneously after half an hour of intensive battles. The creature's coordinated attacks became easy puzzles rather than threats. You have killed a Tier 0 monster, Grass Beetle. The notification marked the end of his latest group encounter. Noah wiped Beetle Ichor from his blade, already scanning the area for his next set of opponents. His attention was caught by familiar figures approaching across the crimson grass. That's Kellis's group. 3 demons he recognized from his beetle hunting partnership days earlier. But something was wrong with the way they were moving. Their posture and the way they moved toward him with a grim expression. I don't see her. Where's Kellis? Would they think I'm weird for asking about their friend? Wait, why are they all looking at me like that? Hello. The man at the front spoke first. Hi. How may I help you? Noah responded with a puzzled look. The man's expression didn't change, but his next words struck Noah so deeply that his eyes dilated. Our friend Kellis. She was killed yesterday in an attack by extremists while she was out with us. We saw her speaking with you a few days ago, and the 2 of you hunted together for a while, so we assumed you knew each other. Are we perhaps wrong? Chapter 92. Dead. What? The information hit Noah like a ball of ice water. Kellis. The adventurer who'd joined his beetle hunting, who'd been genuinely excited about his products, who'd promised to return to his shop, was dead. Wait, what? How? She was supposed to come back. She was interested in buying more supplies. She was at the front of our group when the extremists attacked. We were lucky to escape as an adept mage saved us before we were also killed. The man's voice carried survivor's guilt mixed with exhaustion. His companions stood silent, their expressions confirming details too painful to repeat. Extremists, the same bastards who attacked me and Lola. Why are you telling me this now? The question came out harsher than Noah intended, but shock was making coherent conversation difficult. Kellis had been alive, optimistic, and planning future hunting expeditions. Now she was gone. If you want to attend her funeral, it's today, in about 2 hours. Her family is hosting it at the Memorial Grove in the Eastern District. 2 hours. She's been dead for a day, and the funeral is in 2 hours. The group departed without further conversation, leaving Noah standing alone among beetle corpses with information that refused to process properly. She's dead. Actually dead. Someone he'd talked to, hunted with, sold products to, gone. Not injured, not missing, but permanently erased from existence. I was expecting her to visit the shop again. Extremist attacks were escalating. The safe zones weren't as secure as advertised. Anyone venturing beyond the city walls risked the same fate that had claimed Kellis. 2 hours until the funeral. Do I even belong there? Noah stared at his bloodied sword, thinking about someone who'd never get the chance to upgrade her equipment again. Some lessons about mortality arrived without warning. This was definitely one of them. Noah stayed at the Crimson Mountains for an extra hour, pushing his combat capabilities to new heights. His newest personal record emerged from raw determination, fighting 7 beetles simultaneously without sustaining injury. 7 at once. Not bad. You have killed a Tier 0 monster, grass beetle. The notification marked another milestone in his rapidly developing combat prowess. Each encounter refined his understanding of how superhuman capabilities translated into practical battlefield effectiveness. Another group of demons approached as he cleaned his blade. The same trio he'd encountered during his early first hunting day, when slimes had seemed challenging and beetles represented genuine danger. Impressive progress, their leader called out, genuine admiration replacing the casual encouragement they'd offered 2 days ago. 7 beetles without taking damage? Most fighters struggle with that many. Your improvement rate is remarkable, added the female member, studying his technique with interest. What's your training regimen? Noah accepted their compliments with a smile. Just practice, he replied, keeping his explanation deliberately simple. Consistency matters more than talent. The group nodded with understanding. They departed with respectful farewells, leaving Noah alone with his thoughts. Time to pay respects to someone who deserved better. The Eastern District revealed itself as Sin City's most solemn quarter as Noah approached the Memorial Grove. The trees created natural cathedral spaces where demon families gathered to honor their departed. Soft lighting filtered through leaves that seemed to absorb sound, creating a quiet atmosphere. Kellis's funeral had drawn a larger crowd than Noah expected. Fellow adventurers mingled with family members were also adventurers just like Kellis. She had more friends than I realized. More people miss her. A simple stone platform occupied the grove's center, surrounded by flowering shrubs that added color without overwhelming the space's natural dignity. Kellis lay upon the platform, her adventuring gear arranged beside her with obvious care. They dressed her in her hunting clothes. Noah positioned himself at the gathering's edge, uncertain about his place among people who'd known Kellis far longer than he did. But grief seemed to transcend social boundaries here. Everyone present shared the commonality of loss. The sun began its descent toward the horizon, painting everything in golden hues. An elderly demon with ceremonial robes stepped forward, his presence commanding immediate attention. We gather as the day surrenders to night, he began, his voice carrying across the grove without stopping. To honor Kellis Drakemere, daughter of adventure, seeker of challenge, friend to many. This is the demon's formal ceremony. Traditional words for an ancient ritual. In life, she walked the paths between safety and danger, choosing courage over comfort. Her spirit knew no boundaries. Her heart embraced both friendship and solitude. The officiant's words painted pictures of someone Noah had only briefly encountered, but whose character apparently touched many lives. Her friends nodded with recognition while family members wiped away tears. She made an impression. Even in our short interaction, I could see her passion. Kellis chose the hunter's path, knowing its risks, embracing its rewards. Death found her as she lived, facing forward, protecting others, refusing to yield to fear. The ceremony continued with personal remembrances. Fellow hunters shared stories of successful expeditions, narrow escapes, moments of courage that defined Kellis's approach to life. Each tale added depth to Noah's understanding of someone he'd known only briefly. It would have been nice had I gotten the chance to know her better. As twilight deepened, the officiant raised his hands toward the darkening sky. We commit Kellis Drakemere to the earth that nurtured her strength, the air that carried her dreams, the fire that burned within her spirit. May her journey continue beyond the boundaries of this realm. May the gates of heaven welcome one who lived without compromise. May her courage inspire those who follow. May her memory remind us that some paths are worth walking despite their dangers. The gathering responded with unified voices. May she find peace in the eternal hunt. As a cultural tradition, everyone knows the response. Family members began covering Kellis with earth while her hunting companions placed flowers around the burial site. This is how demons honor their dead. With acknowledgement of choice, celebration of courage, acceptance of consequence. Noah remained until the last few mourners departed, watching stars emerge overhead while contemplating mortality that could strike without warning. Noah walked to the store through the streets that felt different now. Not just locations for business and adventure, but places where people lived finite lives that could end without notice. Chapter 93, Lola. Arriving near his shop, Noah sighed loudly as the day's events pressed heavily on his shoulders. The funeral had left him contemplating mortality in ways he'd never expected in this world. Surprisingly, once the sun set, the weather became very cold. Sin City's nights carried a chill that seemed to penetrate bone, making Noah grateful for his shop's warmth. Clink. His shop door closed behind him with its familiar sound, sealing out the cold air and wrapping him in the gentle glow of moon and the twin stars. The Demonica Moonbergs pulsed with their usual bioluminescence, creating an atmosphere of comfort. Just to head back to Earth. Check on the new house, maybe grab some groceries too. As he prepared to step through the portal, sharp knocking echoed through the shop. Knock! 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 Noah's eyes turned toward the door with curiosity rather than fear. He was no longer the scared man that didn't dare step out of his store. After experiencing his power as a storekeeper against Lola, he knew that he was truly immortal in the store. Who would knock on my store at this time? Most demons know I close after sunset by now. He walked toward the entrance with confident steps, no longer the nervous shopkeeper who jumped at unexpected sounds. Whatever waited outside, he would handle it. The door opened to reveal a sight that made his blood freeze. Lola collapsed on his doorstep, completely bathed in blood. Shit. Her face was streaked with crimson that had dried into dark stains. Her arms bore wounds that looked like claw marks. Blood covered her entire body, which suggested that she was in combat with multiple enemies, rather than one. A master-level mage reduced to this. What the hell happened? But the blood had dried, creating a crusty coating that didn't drip or stain the floor outside his shop. Whatever had happened to her, it wasn't recent. She'd been bleeding for hours. Noah didn't hesitate. He immediately brought her inside without wasting a second, his strength making her unconscious body feel lighter than expected. I need to get her inside first. Questions can be asked later. The door closed behind them with urgency, sealing out whatever threats might still be pursuing her. Noah's mind raced through possibilities, none of them comforting. There aren't many beings who could reduce Lola to this state. Master-level succubi don't fall easily. Could it be the extremists? That was immediately rejected as spotted the item in her hand. In Lola's clenched hand was a black mask, its surface unmarked by the blood that covered everything else about her. The material looked expensive, crafted from fabric that seemed to absorb darkness itself. Did she take this off when she came near my shop so I could recognize her? Was she wearing it during whatever fight left her like this? Speculation ran wild through Noah's mind like a racing cart. The mask suggested that Lola was trying to conceal her identity. Activities that required hiding one's identity weren't many. Had Lola been conducting espionage, assassination, investigating something dangerous enough to nearly kill her? Or maybe she took it from whoever did this to her. Noah knelt beside her unconscious body, checking for signs of life beyond the obvious breathing. Her pulse was weak but steady, suggesting exhaustion rather than a critical injury. The dried blood made his damage assessment difficult, but she didn't appear to be actively dying. She came here instead of seeking medical attention elsewhere. That means something. Was it trust? Or maybe his shop represented the only safe haven she could reach before collapsing. Either way, Lola had chosen his shop as her sanctuary. This is way above my pay grade. Master-level mages have enemies I don't want to know about. Noah cried without tears. He knew that by taking Lola in, he was potentially getting himself into something that he couldn't handle. But leaving her unconscious and bloodied wasn't an option. Whatever had happened, whoever had done this to her, Lola needed his immediate help. Noah retrieved one of his healing loaves from the shelf, handling it with attention. The golden bread would accelerate her natural recovery, but feeding unconscious people required caution. Small pieces. Don't want her choking on magical healing bread. He broke off tiny portions, placing them between her lips and watching for swallowing responses. Her body's survival instincts kicked in, accepting the healing nourishment without conscious cooperation. The bread's working. I can see some color returning to her face. The Demonica Munbergs seemed to respond to the medical emergency, their pulsing intensifying as if trying to contribute additional healing energy. The enhanced mana environment would help, but major injuries required more than ambient magical enhancement. Who could do this to her? Extremists? Some rivals? Someone from her mysterious past? The black mask lay beside her like evidence from a crime scene. Whatever secrets it represented, they'd nearly cost Lola her life. And now those secrets are in my shop. The implications sent chills down his spine. Enemies capable of reducing master-level mages to unconsciousness represented threats far beyond his current capabilities. If they tracked her here, but conscious or not, Lola had trusted him with her vulnerable state. Whatever came next, abandoning her wasn't an option. Noah settled beside Lola's unconscious body, checking her pulse every few minutes to ensure the healing bread was working properly. Color had returned to her face, and her breathing had stabilized into a normal rhythm rather than the shallow gasps that had terrified him earlier. She's going to be fine. Just needs time to recover. The shop's atmosphere felt different with an unconscious master-level mage occupying his floor. The Demonica Munbergs pulsed with gentle energy. Noah couldn't leave the store and head back to Earth. By doing that, he was signing off on Lola's death without a doubt. Once he left, the store would automatically remove Lola from the building, casting her to the street in her unconscious state. Minutes stretched into an hour. Chapter 94, Moral Dilemma. Noah found himself checking the door periodically, listening for sounds that might indicate pursuit or threat. Sin City's nighttime sounds filtered through the walls, distant conversations, cartwheels on cobblestone, the occasional roar of something that probably wasn't entirely domesticated. Should probably stay awake, keep watch. But exhaustion from the day's events was catching up with him. The emotional weight of Kellis's funeral, combined with intensive beetle hunting and now this medical emergency, had drained his energy reserves more thoroughly than he'd realized. Just rest my eyes for a moment. Won't actually fall asleep. Noah leaned against the shop wall, positioning himself where he could observe both Lola and the entrance. The surroundings provided comfort that made staying alert increasingly difficult. The plant's energy is relaxing. Too relaxing. 5 minutes. Noah's eyes drifted closed despite his intentions. The shop's warmth, combined with the Demonica Munberg's soothing emanations, created an environment that reminded him of his university lectures. I'm just going to close my eyes for a few seconds. Nobody can enter my shop anyway. But his consciousness faded gradually, pulling him into sleep that felt more necessary than voluntary. A few hours passed in dreamless sleep. Noah's body relaxed against the wall while his subconscious mind continued monitoring Lola's breathing. Soft. Something soft. The awareness of his surroundings returned slowly, bringing with it the realization that his current position didn't match his memory of falling asleep against the wall. Something warm and comfortable supported his head instead of hard wooden surfaces. This isn't the wall. Noah's eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the shop's gentle illumination. Above him, ruby eyes stared down with an expression that carried amusement mixed with something he couldn't immediately identify. Lola's thighs. The realization sent embarrassment flooding through his consciousness. Somehow during his sleep, he'd ended up using her legs as a pillow. A position that was both intimate and completely unplanned. How did this happen? I was against the wall. Good morning, sleepyhead. Lola's soft voice penetrated his ears, racing to his heartstrings. Noah tried to sit up immediately, but her hand on his shoulder prevented him with gentle pressure. Don't rush. You looked peaceful. I'm sorry, Noah began, his face burning with embarrassment. I didn't mean to. You saved my life, Lola interrupted, her ruby eyes holding his gaze with a stare that made looking away impossible. A little unconscious cuddling seems like fair payment. Unconscious cuddling. She's making this worse. But her expression carried gratitude rather than her typical amusement. Whatever had happened to her, Noah's intervention had been significant enough to earn genuine appreciation. How are you feeling? Noah asked, still acutely aware of their current positioning but unsure how to extract himself without making the situation more awkward. Better. Much better. Lola's fingers traced through his hair casually. Your healing bread works faster than most Tier 2 medical potions. I owe you a considerable debt. What happened to you? You were covered in blood, barely conscious. Noah asked, a worried expression on his face. Lola's expression darkened, her ruby eyes shifting from warmth to anger. The hand in his hair stilled as memories returned. That's complicated. Some things are better left unexplained. She's not going to tell me. Fair enough. Noah respected the boundary without pressing further. Whatever had injured her belonged to demon politics or personal conflicts he wasn't equipped to handle. He slowly extracted himself from her lap, the process more awkward than dignified. Noah moved to his shelves and retrieved another loaf of healing bread, placing it in her hand. Eat this, just in case you aren't healed yet. Lola reached for her coin pouch, but Noah's gesture stopped her movement. Don't worry about it. It's on the house. Lola's eyes locked with his for a moment before he broke the eye contact. Thank you, she whispered, before biting into the golden crust. Are you able to leave without any problems? Noah asked, genuinely concerned about her safety beyond his shop's protective boundaries. After finishing the mouthful of bread in her mouth, she mischievously grinned. Actually, I need to stay for a few more hours, if that's fine with you. The grin on her face made it clear she just wanted to stay to tease him. Nothing more. Noah nodded, accepting his fate. Back in his new house, Noah took a shower and thought about everything that had happened over the past few days. Things are becoming more dangerous. Kellis is dead. Lola was unconscious in my store. I can tell that things are going to become more hectic in the next few days. The hot water couldn't wash away the growing unease that had settled in his chest. Each incident felt like pieces of a larger puzzle he didn't understand. Extremist attacks, political tensions, mysterious injuries that left master-level succubi bleeding on his shop floor. I'm just a human shopkeeper. When did I become involved in demon politics? But the question that bothered him most lingered in the steam around him. If push came to shove, if Lola's life was truly in danger, would he step in to protect her? The honest answer unsettled him. Would I risk my current position to save her? I'm not sure, but she has helped me a lot. Even if she gained something from it, too. The uncertainty felt like a weakness. Heroes in stories always knew exactly where they stood when moral choices arrived. Real life was messier, complicated by self-preservation and the fear of losing everything he'd built. Maybe I'm not hero material after all. Noah shook off the troubling thoughts and checked his status screen, seeking comfort in the progress that couldn't be complicated by moral ambiguity. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $230,240.21. Shop points 3220. Attributes: Strength 20, Vitality 4, Intelligence 20, Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship Level 5, Mana Control Level 5, Cooking Level 2, Programming Level 2, Finance Level 1, Surviving on Ramen Level 3, Gaming Level 1. Chapter 95. New Customers. Progress. $230,000. Over halfway to the shop upgrade. The numbers provided grounding that philosophical questions couldn't match. Whatever moral dilemmas awaited him, his business continued thriving beyond his wildest expectations. 3,220 shop points. I still need 1,780 more for the Level 2 shop upgrade. Progress felt inevitable rather than uncertain in the current conditions of the market. His demon customers had been enthusiastic about his pricing and product, making the threshold more a matter of time than effort. 20 in all combat-relevant attributes. If I'm going to face dangerous situations, at least I'm not completely helpless. Although I still need to increase my vitality attributes. I'm not sure how. Still need to figure out my elemental affinity. Noah pulled up the automaker progress displays, expecting to see continued advancement toward the next tier of production capability. Auto iced tea. Level 2. Production rate 1 iced tea every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 100/100. Auto baker. Level 2. Production rate 2 loaves every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 86/100. Huh? Why isn't it upgrading to level 3? The auto iced tea maker had reached maximum progress but remained stubbornly at level 2. Noah frowned at the interface, expecting some kind of error or delayed processing. System: why isn't my auto iced tea upgrading? It's at 100% progress. Host: you cannot upgrade automakers beyond level 2 until your shop reaches level 2. The current shop level restricts maximum automaker advancement. Once you achieve level 2 shop status, any automakers meeting progress requirements will automatically upgrade. Of course, another limitation I didn't know about. The explanation made sense from a game design perspective: prevent individual components from outpacing overall development. But it still felt frustrating to see completed progress bars that couldn't advance. Need that shop upgrade more than I thought. It's not just about new products, it's about removing artificial caps on my existing systems. At current earning rates, maybe 4 days. Less if demon demand continues exceeding the supply, and I put in more time and effort into selling. The auto baker would hit the same wall once it completed its progress cycle. Both machines would remain capped at current production levels until his overall shop advanced. Noah closed the status displays and headed toward his new bedroom, mentally planning the timelines for various advancement goals. Shop upgrade, elemental affinity discovery, vitality enhancement, and dojo training progression. Too many priorities. Focus on what matters most. The shop upgrade would unlock multiple advancement paths simultaneously. That made it the logical priority. Your daily income has been rewarded. Demonica Munberg card. Your reward is in your inventory. You can use the card and the reward will be summoned. The next day arrived with Sin City's blend of chaos and opportunity. Noah stepped through his portal into the familiar confines of his shop, where moon and 3 stars pulsed with gentle energy that made the air itself feel alive. Another day of work. Let's see what the demon market brings today. His shelves displayed their usual tempting array. The automakers had worked through the night, ensuring his inventory remained stocked for anyone who wandered through his door. Upon staying in the Demon Kingdom for nearly 6 days, Noah had realized that the demons were actually quite cool. They were nice and straightforward despite the dangers. He had also realized that the Demon Kingdom didn't have any foreign visitors. Clearly, the demons were heavily misunderstood by their neighboring kingdoms. The language barrier, their looks, and the extremist bloodshed are creating a huge misunderstanding. 24 bottles, 24 loaves. Time to make some money and earn some shop points. The familiar chime announced his first customer before Noah had finished his morning breakfast. A middle-aged demon with scarred hands approached the counter. "I'll take the usual," he said, placing 30 golden coins on the counter. "I love regular customers. They're the backbone of any successful business." The transaction completed smoothly, and another satisfied customer departed with his provisions that would enhance his daily survival prospects. But Noah's attention was caught by voices outside his shop. A group of demons clustered near his entrance, engaged in a discussion. "Told you about this place. Best healing bread in the entire district. Mana enhancement that actually works. Not like those watered-down potions. It's cheap too. It's worth every coin if you're serious about advancement." The group entered together, their expressions a blend of curiosity and cautiousness. They had clearly heard about his shop, but they were hesitant, wanting to verify the claims personally. "Welcome to the Idle Shop." Noah greeted them with a warm smile that put people at ease. "First time visiting?" A young demoness with silver horns nodded enthusiastically. "Our friend Dract told us about your products. He said they were exceptional." Noah didn't know the names of all his customers, but he nodded as if he knew the demon regardless. "What would you recommend for someone just starting serious adventuring?" asked a hulking demon whose massive frame suggested strength-focused combat preferences. "Depends on your needs, whether you are a tank that focuses on his vitality and needs it constantly replenished, or whether you are a mage that needs their mana to be high and constantly regenerated," Noah replied, gesturing toward his display. "The healing bread accelerates natural recovery by 30%. The iced tea provides mana enhancement by 30%, too. They both last for 10 minutes. The group exchanged glances before the silver-horned demoness stepped forward. "I'll try the bread first." Noah wrapped a loaf with careful attention, watching as she unwrapped it and took an experimental bite. Her eyes widened as the healing effect flooded her body in soft, soothing waves. "This is incredible. I can actually feel my body optimizing itself." And there's the hook. First-time customers always react like that. "The enhancement is noticeable," Noah confirmed. "Most people report improved energy levels and faster recovery from training fatigue." The hulking demon reached for his coin pouch without hesitation. "One of each. If it's half as good as she makes it look." Noah provided the items and watched as the iced tea triggered an even more dramatic response. The demon's mana reserves visibly expanded, his aura brightening with his new enhanced magical capacity. Chapter 96. New Customers. Gaming Session. 30% increase. The customer breathed, his voice carrying genuine awe. "Does the effect dial down the higher your rank is?" he asked, still shocked by the effect he was feeling inside his body. Noah smiled before dropping the bomb.
"No.
The effect remains constant across all ranks. Nothing reduces its potency. Not rank advancement, age, or gender." His words made their jaws drop to the ground. It was a well-known fact that all kinds of potions, whether they were healing potions or mana potions, their effects reduced at the higher ranks, such as apprentice or adept. A Tier 1 mana potion might help replenish a novice mage's mana reserves, but if an apprentice took it, they would have significantly lower results. The remaining group members needed no further convincing. Golden coins changed hands with the demons, now fully convinced that the items in the shop were as advertised. "We'll be back," the silver-horned demoness promised as they departed. "Regularly. I will be waiting," He responded with the best customer service smile he could palster on his face. The morning continued similarly. Draktha's recommendations had created a small surge of first-time visitors, each one departing as a converted customer who would undoubtedly share their own experiences with friends and associates. By midday, Noah's shelves stood noticeably depleted. His shop points climbed steadily toward the 5,000 threshold while his bank account swelled beyond anything his old life could have imagined. Getting closer. Just 2 more days before I can finally upgrade my shop once again. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $308,240.21. Shop points 3740. Attributes: Strength 20, Vitality 4, Intelligence 20, Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship Level 5, Mana Control Level 5, Cooking Level 2, Programming Level 2, Finance Level 1, Surviving on Ramen Level 3, Gaming Level 1. Auto Iced Tea Level 2. Production rate 1 iced tea every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 100/100. Auto Baker Level 2. Production rate 2 loaves every hour. Max stock 24. Progress 100/100. $300,000. The numbers still don't feel real. Noah's eyes tracked across the familiar display with satisfaction that transcended mere financial gain. His current assets had crossed into territory that represented genuine wealth rather than temporary prosperity. 520 shop points gained today. Word-of-mouth marketing is paying serious dividends. Both automakers had reached maximum progress, straining against the limitations set by the system, which only his shop upgrade could resolve. The capped production caused potential revenue to be constrained, as he could increase the cap from 1 per customer to 2 per customer, which would grant him more sales. Whilst he could do that with his current production, it would mean that many of his other customers would not be able to purchase his items, and he didn't want that. It wasn't only about profit, it was also about retaining those customers to constantly come back. 1,260 shop points to go. Maybe 2 or 3 more days if demon enthusiasm continues. His gaze drifted toward the door, noting an absence that had become increasingly apparent throughout the afternoon. No Lola today. That's unusual. She's been quite busy, it seems. The succubus had become something approaching a regular customer. Her dramatic entrances and constant teasing had almost become a part of his daily routine. Her absence felt noticeable in ways that the other customer couldn't match. Probably dealing with whatever injured her yesterday. Master-level demons have complicated lives. Noah shrugged off the concern. Lola could handle herself, and dwelling on absent customers was poor business practice. Seeing the sun's position, Noah decided to close the shop. After nearly 2 weeks of being in this world, he had learned how to calculate the time based on the shadows and the sun's position. I need to head back to Earth. I have an appointment with the man to complete the setup. The portal welcomed him into his new house, where afternoon light streamed through the windows and bathed the furniture. A van pulled into his driveway as Noah checked his appearance in the hallway mirror. Technoworld's logo decorated the vehicle's side panel. The man emerged from the driver's seat with an assistant who began unloading equipment cases. Professional setup crews moved with the punctuation that warranted their premium fees. Mr. Carter. Marcus extended his hand. Ready to build your gaming setup? The boxes from Noah's shopping spree waited in the spare bedroom, still containing thousands of dollars worth of the world's best hardware. Absolutely. Everything's upstairs. They climbed to the designated room, where Marcus began unpacking components with reverent care. Monitors that belonged in professionally sports facilities, the best equipment was being unpackaged and placed. Custom loop cooling for both systems, Marcus explained while connecting the water cooler. These machines will handle anything you throw at them. For such a powerful PC, you need a strong cooling system. Otherwise, your hardware will be damaged. Noah nodded. Whilst he was a software engineer, he still knew about the hardware components of the computer. An hour later, the transformation was complete. What had been empty space now resembled a streamer's desk. Testing phase. Marcus powered up both systems simultaneously. The room was filled with the gentle hum of high-performance computing. Despite the powerful comments, the PC wasn't making any loud sounds. Performance benchmarks look perfect. Marcus nodded with satisfaction. Everything was flowing smoothly with no unseen errors at play. You've got enough processing power to run all the games you need at the highest resolution possible. Noah accepted the brief tutorial on system management to ensure the longevity of the setup. Anything else you need? Marcus packed his tools and stood up. This covers everything. Thank you. The setup crew departed, leaving Noah alone with his new setup. With his new setup now ready for action, Noah took his phone out and sent Ethan a message. Are you up for a few games? I just completed my setup. Noah texted his cousin with a smirk on his face. Chapter 97. Enjoying the moment. Reloading. Noah called out, ducking behind cover as enemy bullets shredded the concrete wall beside him. I've got your back. Ethan's voice crackled through the headset, his sniper rifle finding targets with increasing accuracy. Second gaming session together, but this feels completely different. Warzone tactics had replaced their previous shooter choice, offering faster-paced combat that demanded better reflexes. Noah's enhanced attributes were making themselves known in unexpected ways. 20 agility translating to digital dexterity. Who knew? His crosshair tracking had improved dramatically since their last session. Targets that would have escaped his aim weeks ago now fell to precise shots that surprised even him. Nice headshot. Ethan's excitement was infectious. Your aim's gotten insane. Level 1 gaming skill plus superhuman reflexes. Unfair advantage much? Thanks. Your positioning's gotten better, too. They moved through the map with coordination that belied their amateur status. Ethan's tactical calls complemented Noah's improving marksmanship, creating a duo that climbed the casual match rankings steadily. The engagement unfolded perfectly. Ethan's constant pressure on the opposite team allowed Noah to execute a flanking plan that eliminated 3 opponents in succession. Triple kill, the game announced. Dude, you are cracked. Your gaming skill has leveled up to level 2. The notification appeared as they secured victory, adding another small improvement to Noah's growing collection of skills. Another round? Ethan asked, already queuing for the next match. Absolutely. After his gaming session with Ethan, Noah's stomach reminded him that he was still a mortal, and his body needed attention. He slid into the GTR, its engine purring to life. The hospital wasn't far, but driving his dream car still felt surreal enough to warrant taking the scenic route. Might as well enjoy the ride. The corridors of the medical facility welcomed him with their usual scent of antiseptics and medicines. Nurse Martinez stood at the central station, reviewing charts with a focused expression that made her one of his father's favorite staff members. In his father's opinion, Nurse Martinez took her job very seriously, and it was praiseworthy. Noah! Her smile brightened the environment. Good to see you again. But her expression changed slightly as she took in his appearance. Designer clothes that cost more than most people's daily salary. Nurse Martinez's eyebrow rose with curiosity mixed with concern, but she didn't voice the obvious questions about how a previously struggling son had acquired such new clothes. They are probably fake clothes. I don't want to embarrass him by asking. Just let it be. She thought, her expression returning to her usual smile. How's my dad doing today? Conditions stable. Same as yesterday, which is good news in our business. Her smile carried genuine care. Actually, I was wondering if I could take him out for dinner. Nothing too strenuous, just a change of scenery. Nurse Martinez's expression shifted to thoughtful consideration. Let me check with Dr. Thompson. He's been encouraging more activity when possible, so he will most likely agree. She returned minutes later with approval. Doctor says it's fine, but bring him back before 9. He has evening medications that can't be delayed. 20 minutes later, Noah helped his father into the GTR's passenger seat. watching Alan's expression transform as luxury interiors surrounded him. "This is your car?" His voice carried wonder mixed with parental concern about financial responsibility. "Business has been good, Dad. Really good. If only he knew how good." The restaurant Noah had chosen was elegant, decently priced and low-key. "Mr. Carter." The hostess smiled with courtesy. "Right this way." Their table overlooked the city lights, providing an ambience that made the mood much better. "I can't remember the last time we did this," his father said, studying the menu with obvious appreciation. "Neither can I, but we're doing it now. Order whatever looks good. Tonight's about celebrating your recovery progress." The evening unfolded with conversations flowing between father and son. The pair shared stories and laughter while gourmet food was served. This is what money should buy. Moments like these. After returning his father to the hospital, Noah headed back home. It was already evening time and there wasn't much to do. Thus, he decided to head back to the store. "I will open the store and I might get some extra sales in. It would help me reach level 2 shop." Noah flipped his sign and settled behind the counter, watching Sin City's evening crowd through his windows. The first customer arrived within minutes, a well-dressed demon wearing some expensive accessories. He departed with bread and iced tea after examining both products. What followed was an hour of steady business activity that surprised Noah with its intensity. His modest evening inventory, 5 glasses of iced tea and 10 loaves of bread, disappeared faster than he thought initially. I really underestimate the demon's purchasing power. Customer after customer arrived with specific requests and ready payment, treating his products like essential supplies. The reputation he'd built through word-of-mouth marketing was paying dividends beyond his expectations. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $328,240.21. Shop points 3890. Attributes: strength 20, vitality 4, intelligence 20, agility 20. Skills: swordsmanship level 5, mana control level 5, surviving on ramen level 3, cooking level 2, programming level 2, gaming level 2, finance level 1. $328,000. The shop points total made his pulse quicken with anticipation. 1,110 points away from the upgrade threshold that would transform his entire shop. 2 more successful days. Maybe 3 if sales are below usual and I should hit the milestone. 2 days passed by in a blur, and finally, Noah had hit what had been his goal for the past week or so. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shops 1. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $468,240.21. Shop points 5010. Attributes: strength 20, vitality 4, intelligence 20, agility 20. Skills: swordsmanship level 6, mana control level 5, surviving on ramen level 3, cooking level 2, programming level 2, gaming level 2, finance level 1. Chapter 98. Level 2 Shop. During those 2 days, Noah hadn't been idle. Between managing his increasingly profitable shop and serving enthusiastic demon customers, he'd maintained his rigorous training schedules that pushed both his physical and magical capabilities. Master Tanaka's instruction had accelerated his swordsmanship development beyond anything solo training could achieve. The Demonica plants had provided constant enhancement to his mana sensitivity, creating optimal conditions for his magical development. Hours of meditation surrounded by their amplified emanations had refined his control over mana. Unfortunately, his mana control skill stubbornly remained at level 5 despite his intensive practice. Whatever barrier existed between competent manipulation and better mastery, Noah hadn't managed to break through it yet. Even more frustrating was his complete lack of elemental affinity discovery. Every visualization exercise, every meditation session, Every attempt to resonate with fundamental forces had yielded identical results. Absolute silence from the magical spectrum. Maybe I don't have any elemental affinity. Maybe some people are just magically neutral. The thought carried troubling implications for his future development as a mage. Without elemental specialization, his magical capabilities would remain limited to basic mana manipulation rather than the devastating spells that he had imagined. Lola's absence over the past 2 days had eliminated his best source of instruction and information. The succubus had vanished as mysteriously as she'd appeared, leaving no explanation for her sudden disappearance. Probably dealing with whatever injured her. But her timing couldn't have been worse. Just when he needed expert guidance most, his primary magical mentor had evaporated into whatever shadows spawned powerful succubi. Noah's gaze fixed on the shop's point total that represented weeks of effort finally bearing fruit. 50 points were enough to unlock the next tier of his shop. Time to see what level 2 actually offers. System. I want to upgrade my shop to level 2. Upgrade requirements met. Initiating shop level 2 transformation. Please stand back. The familiar space around Noah began to shimmer with energy that made the air itself feel alive. What started as gentle vibrations quickly escalated into full-scale shop reconstruction. Here we go. The walls stretched outward with smooth expansion. His modest shop doubled in floor space within seconds, creating more room. The ceiling rose higher. This is incredible. It's like watching time-lapse construction in real time. The cramped quarters that had been his early business days quickly evolved into a spacious shop. Where he'd once squeezed between shelves and furniture, open walkways now provided room for multiple customers to browse without colliding. His simple wooden shelves evolved into elegant display units with built-in lighting that his products deserved. Glass panels appeared to protect inventory while maintaining visibility. This is a professional presentation. My shop is finally getting the decor it deserves. One of the most dramatic changes involved his beverage storage. Sleek and modern refrigeration units appeared along the expanded wall space, their stainless steel surfaces gleaming. Digital temperature displays showed optimal cooling. His uncomfortable stool vanished, replaced by a proper chair with an ergonomic design. But the most startling addition was structural. A staircase leading to a second floor that hadn't existed moments before. An entire second level. What am I supposed to do with all this space? Shop level 2 upgrade complete. Showcasing new features and capabilities. Auto iced tea maker. Level 3. Production rate. 2 iced teas every hour. Max stock, 48. Progress, 0/200. Auto baker. Level 3. Production rate, 4 loaves every hour. Max stock, 48. Progress, 0/200. The production doubled, alongside the stock capacity. This upgrade has just doubled my revenue. Within hours, his inventory would reach levels that could satisfy even the most enthusiastic demon shopping sprees. New feature unlocked. Apprentice management system. Apprentice management? I can finally hire help. This feature allows the recruitment of individuals to assist with basic shop operations. Apprentices can handle customer service, inventory management, and routine maintenance. The apprentices hired would be able to sleep on the second floor. They would also be transported to new locations. New feature unlocked. Dimensional item transfer. Noah's attention sharpened as the implications hit him like lightning. I can bring shop items to Earth? I can finally help my father improve. The host may now transport purchased inventory between dimensional locations. Items bought with shop points can be utilized in the host's original world for personal usage or gifting purposes. Can't be used for commerce. Otherwise, the system would be revoked from the host. I can use magical products on Earth. The possibilities exploded through his consciousness. Enhanced bread for his father's recovery. Mana-boosting drinks to accelerate his magical development regardless of location. The ability to share supernatural benefits with people who mattered most. New feature unlocked. Expanded shop slot products. Shop slot level 2. Item 1. Protein Enhancement Bar. Price, $300,000. Effect: increases strength attribute by 50% for 20 minutes. Permanently increases strength attribute by 10 upon first consumption. Item 2. Locked. Oh my god. A permanent attribute increase not only for me, but for all users. It's so high, too. Noah's jaw dropped as he processed the protein bar's description. 50% temporary boost plus permanent enhancement that would push his strength into insane limits. The price will deplete 3/4 of my assets, but the effects. System. Why can't I see the other items? Do I need to level up to level 3? The thought of leveling up the shop for every item nearly made him choke. It would take an eternity for him to get new products at this rate. Product visibility follows progressive unlock mechanics. Purchase one item to reveal the next available option. This system encourages strategic investment while maintaining discovery incentives. Your current limit for your shop level is 10 items. Noah studied the protein bar's details with growing excitement. $300,000 represented a significant chunk of his wealth, but permanent attribute enhancement was beyond price. 10 permanent strength points. That's half of what I currently have. The temporary boost alone would attract most demons. I need to think of a good price for this item. I also need to check its production rate. System. I'm purchasing the protein enhancement bar. Purchase confirmed. $300,000 deducted from current assets. Protein enhancement bar added to inventory. Current assets, $168,240.21. Chapter 99. New item. 2 days left. Next item unlocked in shop slot. Item 2. Energy drink. Price, $300,000. Effect: increases agility attribute by 50% for 20 minutes. Permanently increases agility attribute by 10 upon first consumption. $300,000 for the energy drink, too. They standardized the pricing for the same effect. Noah's mind calculated the implications. Both products offered identical permanent boosts to different attributes, suggesting a deliberate balance in the system's design. 10 permanent points in either strength or agility. That's massive development for someone at my level. The energy drink's effects would push his reflexes and speed. Combined with the protein bar's strength enhancement, he'd become much more powerful. 50% temporary boost plus permanent enhancement. I could probably dodge bullets with that kind of agility. System. What happens if I consume both products? I wouldn't burst, right? It has no bad effects, just like the others. Enhancement effects stack without interference. No negative effects will occur. Permanent attribute increases apply independently. Temporary boosts may be used simultaneously for maximum combat effectiveness. Combined enhancement. Superhuman strength and speed at the same time. The thought made Noah's pulse quicken with anticipation. His current assets couldn't cover both purchases, but the future looked increasingly powerful. Looking at the protein bar on his shelf, Noah suppressed the urge to consume it immediately and claim those 10 permanent strength points for himself. Just one bite. 10 permanent attribute points. I could become even stronger. System. What happens if I eat the protein bar? Would it restock at some point? Noah asked the questions that had been on his mind. No, host. It will not restock automatically. You would need to purchase another for $300,000. Restocking only occurs after completing a sale, which unlocks the automaker for that product. Once the automaker is active, then it will automatically replenish. How long would it replenish? That's for you to figure out, host. Make your first sale from protein bars and you will know. TSK. It was worth the try, Noah muttered under his breath. He had tried to outsmart the system by tricking it into telling him the duration before making the sale, but he failed miserably. Glancing back at the protein bar, Noah ground his teeth, fighting the overwhelming temptation to claim the enhancement for himself. My plan of waiting for automatic production just got destroyed. The system's mechanics had slipped his mind during the excitement of upgrading. He'd forgotten that selling the first unit was required before the production rate became available. It's been so long since I've gotten a new product that I completely forgot the sequence. The protein bar sat mockingly on his display shelf, its wrapper seeming to glow with power. 10 permanent strength points, locked behind the requirement to find a customer willing to pay whatever price he set. Well, I guess I'll show it to Lola and get her opinion on pricing. The next few hours brought a steady stream of customers whose reactions to his expanded shop provided entertainment beyond mere commercial satisfaction. Demon after demon entered, only to stop short at the dramatic transformation. "What in the nine hells?" breathed a silver-horned merchant, his eyes sweeping across the doubled floor space. "Did you expand overnight?" "Recent renovations," Noah replied diplomatically, a smile forming on his face. The merchant's gaze lingered on the elegant display cases, professional lighting, and spacious walkways that had replaced his cramped original setup. "Impressive. Very impressive. I've never seen such a design before, ever. It's truly remarkable. And strange. Thank you for your kind words. I highly appreciate it." Customer after customer expressed similar amazement, their approval boosting Noah's confidence in his business trajectory. The professional presentation elevated his shop's perceived value, making even his standard products seem more premium. Ambience matters. Even magical bread benefits from proper presentation. The familiar sound of a dramatic cape billowing in the air announced Viscount Vex's arrival before the door even opened fully. His entrance was always hilarious in Noah's eyes. Vex's expression shifted to genuine shock as his eyes devoured the transformed space. "Noah!" Vex's voice climbed several octaves. "What sorcery is this? Your shop has evolved." Precious clicked her needle-sharp teeth with what might have been approval, her vine tendrils reaching toward the lighting as if drawn to its warmth. "It's a business expansion," Noah explained, watching Vex circle the interior with obvious fascination. "Expansion? This is metamorphosis." Vex gestured toward the spacious layout with sweeping arm movements. "The elegance, the sophistication, the sheer grandeur. This is spectacular." He's really enjoying the aesthetic upgrade. Vex's attention shifted to the increased shelf space, his eyes widening as a thought emerged in his mind. "Does this mean I can purchase more items? I see additional shelves and more storage capacity. Surely this indicates more purchasing opportunities." The hopeful eagerness in his voice made Noah smile with satisfaction. 2 items per person now. Double orders. Finally. 2. Vex practically shouted, causing Precious to click her teeth in startled sympathy. "Blessed expansion. Precious will be absolutely delighted." But his celebration paused as his gaze landed on the protein bar's display case. The new product sat prominently on the shelf, alone. "Here we go. Time to gauge reaction to premium pricing." Vex approached the display with the reverence typically reserved for sacred artifacts. His eyes scanned the product description with growing amazement. "Protein enhancement bar," he read aloud, his voice dropping to awe. "Increases strength attribute by 50% for 20 minutes. Permanently increases strength attribute by 10 upon first consumption." The silence stretched as Vex absorbed the words that challenged his understanding. Precious leaned forward from her perch behind his ear, apparently sensing her companion's excitement. "Permanent enhancement," Vex breathed. "Actual permanent enhancement. This is a treasure. Is this available for purchase?" Vex's voice carried desperate hope mixed with anticipation of disappointment. "It's currently on display only," Noah replied carefully. "Maybe tomorrow. Need to establish pricing before releasing something this powerful." "Tomorrow." Vex's expression brightened with enthusiasm. "Precious and I will return first thing in the morning. Won't we, darling?" Chapter 100 Auction. The carnivorous flower clicked her teeth in what appeared to be eager agreement, her vine tendrils swaying with anticipation. "Even his plant wants permanent strength enhancement. I must ask," Vex continued, his tone shifting to serious business discussion. "What price range should I prepare for? This level of enhancement surely commands premium compensation." "That's the million-dollar question," Or, in this case, the several $100,000 question. Still finalizing details, Noah deflected. Check back tomorrow for availability and pricing. But definitely not early morning, you would just be wasting your time. I will most likely decide in the evening. Vex waved his hand dismissively. It's okay. I will come for my daily purchase anyway. You don't have to worry about it. Noah settled into his ergonomic chair, appreciating the upgrade from his previous uncomfortable stool. For loaves and 2 iced teas per hour. This is going to be good. An hour passed, and true to the system's promise. For golden loaves and 2 crystalline bottles appeared on his shelves. The sight of accelerated inventory generation filled him with satisfaction that transcended mere money success. Double production means double shop points. If demand stays consistent, I'll be looking at close to 1,000 shop points. This will help exponentially as the second upgrade isn't cheap. After checking the requirements upgrade for level 3, Noah decided to forget about it for the time being and focus on the tasks at hand. The familiar sound of confident footsteps approached his entrance, accompanied by an aura that made the air itself shy. Lola's back. Finally. The door opened to reveal the succubus in her usual glory. Midnight hair cascading over shoulders, ruby eyes sparkling with mischievous energy, and that smile that suggested she had bad plans. Hello. My favorite mysterious shopkeep. Her greeting died mid-sentence as her gaze swept across the transformed interior. Her ruby eyes widened with genuine shock as she glanced all over the doubled floor space, elegant display cases, and professional lighting that had replaced his modest original setup. What in the 7 circles happened here? Lola's voice carried disbelief mixed with obvious admiration. Did you expand overnight? Her reaction is even better than Vex. They are all asking about expansion overnight. Heh. Business growth required operational expansion, Noah replied with a deliberately casual tone. Business growth. She circled the interior with feline grace, her tail swishing as she examined every detail. Lola's attention shifted from aesthetic appreciation to more pressing concerns. Speaking of progress, how's your elemental affinity discovery going? Any breakthrough since our last conversation? Noah's expression darkened slightly. Still nothing. Every element I've tried remains completely unresponsive. 2 days of intensive meditation with 0 results. Lola frowned with genuine concern rather than disappointment. That's unusual. Most people show at least marginal resonance with something by now. Thanks for the confidence boost. But her frown transformed into shock as her gaze landed on the protein bar's display case. The new product sat prominently on its shelf, its description visible through the protective glass. Permanent attribute enhancement, she whispered, approaching the display with reverence typically reserved for legendary artifacts. Actual permanent enhancement. This works across all ranks, right? Just like your other products. Lola's assumption was incredibly bold. Things that increased the attributes of master-level mages were far and few. But the shopkeeper in front of her had always surprised her, and it wasn't an impossibility, considering that it was Noah. Noah nodded with a smile. Of course. Noah, do you understand what you're selling here? I know it increases strength permanently by 10 points, Noah replied carefully. 10 permanent points plus 50% temporary boost. Lola's voice carried awe that made her usual confidence seem subdued. This isn't just valuable. This is a treasure that brothers would wage wars to possess. Brothers would wage wars. This seems like it's as valuable as the crown. Royal brothers are always fighting for it. What would be a good price for something like this? Noah asked, genuinely curious about the market value for permanent enhancement. Price? Lola's laugh carried disbelief. Noah, you shouldn't ask for mere gold coins. You should ask for something rare and useful in return. Beyond monetary compensation, that's a different level entirely. Set up an auction tomorrow, she continued, her business instincts overriding her initial shock. I'll help you announce it throughout Sin City. Every powerful demon will want to bid. Her expression shifted slightly, carrying what might have been disappointment. Although I would have wanted to buy it myself. She genuinely wants it, but recognizes that an auction will help me more. Seeing her helpful attitude despite personal desire, Noah felt a wave of appreciation for her assistance over the past days. Training, instruction, business advice, she'd contributed significantly to his development. "Don't worry," he whispered, leaning closer with secrecy. "I have a few more on the way. I'll give you one when they arrive." "Really?" Her ruby eyes brightened as she ran to hug him, but he stopped her, placing his palm on her head as she tried to comically go past it. "But in return," he continued in the same whisper, "I want you to help increase auction prices. What do you think?" Lola's smile transformed into something approaching predatory satisfaction. Her ruby eyes sparkled with the kind of mischief that suggested she had excellent ideas about auction manipulation. "A mutually beneficial arrangement," she purred, extending her hand with formality. "I accept your proposal. Business partnership with a master-level succubus. This should be interesting." They shook hands, sealing an agreement that would probably revolutionize his product pricing while ensuring Lola received one too. "I know exactly how to generate maximum bidding enthusiasm," Lola continued, her voice carrying the confidence of someone who had done it before. "Scarcity, exclusivity, and just enough demonstration to prove authenticity. She's going to turn this into a spectacle." "When should we schedule the auction?" Noah asked. "Tomorrow evening. Gives me time to spread word among the right people. Nobles, wealthy merchants, anyone with resources worth acquiring." Her tail swished with anticipation. "This will be the most talked about event Sin City has seen in months."